It feels like my bones are melting.
Feels like, because that's what's happening. Oh, look at this though. Look at this 2010 A Space Odyssey business going on here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is not the worst place we could have ever ended up.
Huh. That's alright. I guess everything's gonna be oh god!
Ah!
Cybermen!
Quickly, hit them with your stick!
Well, no, it's fine. Oh, I guess it is fine. These guys are chumps.
In this mysterious world of blue toddlers, the first action we take is violence. Not like a, hey, how are ya? We come in peace. Have you seen my friend? No, we just straight up lop some heads off with our sword. Chrono's a simple man, from a simpler time.
So, real quick, a little tiny bit of serious business. To kind of prove a point about this game, I'm gonna try to go through and only fight each combat once. Like, try not to do a lot of grinding. Because I think that the game is, like, really deliberately balanced. Like, with this not random encounter situation that it's got going on. Like, if you haven't gotten it, these encounters don't just happen like, oh, you walk somewhere, all of a sudden combat. Like, the enemies are deliberately placed on the field in specific amounts.
Mm-hmm. 8-year-old me loved that after playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Where you just take 5 steps and then suddenly fight violence, oh god! Oh god, I hated that. I still hate that. Like, I hate Pokemon, in part, for that. Drives me up the wall.
I think, I think that this is a lot more satisfying because, like, you see these assholes. What's even going on here?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, you can just, like, walk
say
past
hello.
these assholes, right? Like, you don't have to fight them if you really don't want the levels.
Yeah. But we could honestly use them this early in the game, so that's happening.
So yeah, another really interesting thing about the Chrono Trigger combat system is you've kind of got this, one, you've got the active system of combat where, like, you wait a certain amount of time and then you can attack, and you can kind of, like, the enemy has to wait a certain amount of time too. And, like, that on its own is already pretty interesting. Like, that was a neat way to shake up the RPG formula back in the day. Can
I stop you real quick on the overworld here?
You can go for it real quick. Oh, what's up?
Pop back out to that overworld there, right? Because if the forest itself wasn't enough, being all untamed and crazy, you step out into this overworld and you'll notice that there's some significant changes that have been made here.
Oh yeah, and like your positioning and stuff?
There's a building missing, there's some docks that are absent. Like, if you haven't figured out what's going on from the title, it's sending you some incredibly strong messages.
Yeah. In addition, if you stand still long enough, in the bottom left, you have a little question mark. And when you start at the game, it's like 1000 AD, and then it's like question mark. Like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, even if you weren't picking up on the visual clues, it flat out tells you.
Yeah.
You did know that, right?
Yeah, so it's like, well, we're in Guardia
Stupid
Kingdom,
kid.
same as usual. Like, which is the name of the place you started out in. Like, Millennial Fair, what?
What's a millennial flare?
Oh, they found Queen Lean in the mountains. And Magus' army destroyed the bridge. Alright, well, some shit's going on here. So yeah. One of the neat things about Chrono Trigger is it kind of has a really subtle sort of way of directing you. Like right here, it's like, hey, you know, I'm looking for the queen. You know, she disappeared while visiting the cathedral to the west. Oh wait, what? They found her? So it's like, okay, so the queen's a big deal. So we should go to that giant castle. Like, it kind of. But in addition, it kind of gave you that little nugget that she disappeared in the cathedral. So it's like, you know, later on.
Yeah. I would like to point out, though, that in addition to being a subtle and very immersive way to guide you, it also assumes something that a lot of games don't assume anymore, and that's that you're going to pay some goddamn attention. Like, a lot of games, like, I don't even mean to be like, oh, well, in the golden age of Magic Land, when all the games were perfect and the games were hard and not for cat. Like, I don't mean to be that guy. I know it sounds like I am. But, the game really assumes that you're going to be invested in whatever you're reading. Like, the dialogue is the pull for this game.
Mm-hmm.
This is an era where the text popped up and you read it in earnest. Like, this was a living, breathing world that you were paying attention to.
Real quick, like, you can see these enemies are too far away to spin cut. Like, that's what I mean by the proximity thing, for anyone who hadn't noticed it yet.
Yeah, combat's super positional in this game.
Yeah. And, like, I think by now that... Oh, whatever. I'll just attack these dudes. The game kind of teaches you... Ooh.
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 The game kind of teaches you early on, though, like, to use text instead of just mashing attack as well. Like, it really, really early on, it kind of sets up its rules.
Mm-hmm. Which is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
In a more recent example, I've been playing a game free-to-play upcoming called Warframe, and it's a little bit like just anybody who's not gonna Google that after hearing it. It's a little bit like Diablo 2 and Mass Effect had a baby, but there's a segment, at least right now, as of this recording, where there are these big dumb green laser walls, and there's nothing there that explains to you what they are, and they happen several levels into the game. It changes the rules and the dynamic, and it's unsatisfying. And this game, made years prior, has that figured out.
Yeah.
There's not going to be too much variation, but there's going to be
like,
enough to keep you interested.
Chrono Trigger, I wouldn't say it's perfect. I think it definitely has some big flaws in it, like especially later on. But it really got what it meant like what it meant in how video games are unique as a medium. Like, it really understood the tools the medium had to teach you, and, like, just... I don't know, it understood what its tools were to work with and how to manipulate them.
I get where you're going with that, and I think that this is a good opportunity to expand upon one of our gripes to whoever may be listening. Viewers... Birchies, sapling, whatever you want to call yourselves. We have a problem with games as art. Don't get us wrong. Games are art. In fact, this game is a beautiful example of gaming, the medium itself, being used as art to convey emotions, a story. It's beautiful. However, things that people commonly tout as being examples of that, quote-unquote, art games, we find the term to be... Okay, I find it, I'm not going to speak for Ants here, insipid, insulting, and flat-out stupid. Games are art, by definition. It's a thing that they are. You can't... There's no sudden separation.
Yeah,
like I don't look at the Mona Lisa and say, this is art, and look at Pablo Picasso and be like, oh, no, that's not art. That's just some fucking dumbass squares all put up stupid-like.
I think that the point that people try to make when they say, oh, this is an art game, is that it's the difference between what we were talking about as high art and then populist art. Like, I think that's the distinction that they are trying to make. Like, if a game is an art game, to their mind, it means, like, oh, this game is, not just, a game, but it's like, I don't know, it's like something that you can kind of take a sip of wine of and go, indeed.
Okay, like, I understand that meaning, but then I see people apply that to games like Braid and Limbo, and it's like I'm watching somebody cock their head back and dump an Easy Cheese can into their mouth and go, yes, indeed, a fine vintage, last week in the back of the fridge, yes. By the way, Kick Bad, it doesn't like Braid or Limbo. Fuck you if you disagree.
Okay, but
Like,
Well,
this
to this. We'll get back to this in a second, but what I will say about this game is I don't necessarily think the quality of writing itself is like superb or the reason why it's a great story. I think that the game really does use everything that it's got. Like, I think that it uses the menus even as an artistic thing that I'm gonna touch on a little later.
I'll agree.
But like when it becomes relevant, like I think that what makes
I'll agree. The story's not the best.
Like, I think that what it is, it's not that it's like a well written story or a particularly epic plot. Although I do think that I think that they're good. It's not that it's a particularly pretty game, although it is pretty. It is like well stylized. It's great sprite work. It's that it's got everything working together at once to make a cohesive whole. And we'll touch on that more as time goes on.
Yeah, a little distinction I would like to make in that is that this game is from a different era. Applying a lot of the rules that are happening here, there are new rules that should be observed.
Yeah.
Making an RPG like this with all this character-heavy dialogue, from what I watched of my friends playing, what is it? What is the new MMO? The Old Republic, the Star Wars one, where all of it's voice acted. Yeah, if you were going to make Chrono Trigger again today, in the future, essentially, that's what it would probably look like. I mean, there's this use of text for all of the writing is entirely error locked. I don't want, like, I wouldn't want this to happen nowadays because we have the disk space, we have the budgets with these big AAA studios that essentially produce this. There's not an excuse to go back to it outside of nostalgia, and that is its own damaging apparatus. We have some very specific opinions, and I just want to make them clear whenever possible. Like, we hold a lot of reverence for this game, but there are definitely things that are different now for the better. Like, it is in no way some perfect representation.
Yeah, like, I think that there's some, like, I say, like, I think that this game is really masterfully balanced and stuff. I still think that there's some flaws with that, like, especially towards the very end of the game. But, like, it's by no means perfect, but I think that it's very ahead of its time. Like,
I'll agree with that.
I think that it, if not pioneered a lot of interesting stuff, that it was at least one of the early representations of it, and like one of the early, I don't know about mastering it, but it's just like a really exemplary kind of showing of it.
I'll drink to that.
It's kind of hard to get into.
I'll drink heavily to that.
I'll binge to that.
I'll Friday night party to that.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get like really into what I mean by that until we start to see it, because we're still in the sort of expository stages. But as time goes on,
if you want to get fancy with the editing, just pop up on the screen. We'll get back to that every time we say something where we mean more on it, and you will probably hear about it a lot from us. Yeah. Just if you're feeling froggy.
There's a neat little kind of gag and hint. And it's like, there's no place for kids. Wait. What's the eyes cream that the queen wants?
What the hell is this shit? I remember reading the chef's dialogue when I was a kid, with the little voice in my head where it was like, ugh, what's this ice cream shit that the princess is asking for? Oh,
is the chef Duke Nukem?
pretty much in my head.
When this, I'm pretty sure. Oh no! It didn't predate the pre-Duke 3D ones. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it predated Duke Nukem, but I remembered he had that voice before then.
Yeah, I've always had like, okay. If there's a chef in a media, in like a piece of media, if he's not a happy singing Italian, he's like a grizzled, hairy-armed fry cook. Like that's just the two modes that I have. And I imagine that the king knows good food, and by good food he means fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. Because I was 8 years old.
So, I don't know if it said it quite there, but the chef and the knight captain are brothers, and they have this kind of sibling rivalry, where the knight's kind of like, look, man, I'm out there. I got men to protect. I got soldiers to feed. You need to do your job. And the chef is like, look, man, we've got priorities. All right, I've got like a schedule to keep. I've got like people I need fed now and now. Like, he's like, don't rush me. All right, you'll get fed when the schedule allows for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you kind of get this brief little taste of the Brotherhood rivalry. So yeah, so people are like, hey, you know, I hear you saved the queen, but she's kind of weird. Yeah, but like basically you kind of just as you trickle through the castle, it's like, huh, the queen's kind of,
yeah. Everything is amiss.
And if you haven't figured it out, from her looking exactly like Marl, she may or may not be Marl.
We really should have named her something goofy. I am regretting not having a name. What do you want? Get out of my face!
Yeah, so the Chancellor up here is like, hey, you get lost. Don't...
You got a problem, kid? I'm skulking here!
And he kind of starts being like that when he's like, huh, the queen. So the Chancellor suspects something's amiss. Maybe more than the king and everyone else does.
Well, the king is like, oh, I've got my sweetheart back.
Yeah, you know, like he's like, yeah, she's acting a little weird, but like at least she's safe.
Yeah. The Chancellor, however, has motives. I'm sure. The Queen awaits. Guffaw! Now get in there, or I will be forced to taunt you a second time!
The queen looks so youthful. In fact, she looks younger now than on her wedding day.
She looks just 14.
Yeah, oh, how strange.
She looks, what, 5?
You know what? You know what? The 14 is probably an accurate figure since this is the 600s.
Ooh.
And, like, if that's when she got married. Yeah. Oh, so I think we've solved the mystery. Come closer. Fooled you, didn't I?
Scandalous as hell.
Ooh.
This is the moment when you run.
So, basically Marl's like, yo, everyone thinks I'm queen. So I just kind of chilled out because I figured you'd come back here to come looking for me. Which, I don't know how she figured that, given that she just met him, and he, like, wouldn't wait for her at the candy stand.
Shit, what did you do?
Me?
Yes, you! You're the only one here!
And I did kind of just loot her private ether stand. Let's get out of here. Alright, so basically, she's like, oh shit, something's wrong. And clearly.
I thought of something that I shouldn't say on the air.
Well, now that we've sown the seeds of discord, let's get out of here.
Oh yeah. No, they'll think about it. They'll think long and hard about it. They probably thought it.
You probably, yeah, there you go.
Wait, what? How did you get into the castle?
How did you get back in time?
Did you just tell him you're from the future or what?
That's what I want to know.
Well, she said she'd follow you once she figured it out.
But how did she figure it out?
Well, it's science. I ain't got to explain shit. Oh wait, that's the whole point of science.
Science is kind of indistinguishable from magic in this game anyway. Like, Luca will see some shit and she'll be like, wow, I've never seen such high science. And it's pretty much just magic.
It was a simpler time, back when science meant some doodad that you don't understand fully.
So you say that, but I'm pretty sure Luca has a computer. at her house. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not 100% on it.
Are you trying to say that I might understand a computer? Because I assure you, the answer is no.
So, yeah, turns out Marl is descended from the Queen.
She's royalty.
And, someone back in the day was supposed to save her after she got kidnapped by this Cyberman. And, you know, but Marl comes back in time, and it's like, hey, you know, this is probably the Queen. So now people have stopped looking for the Queen. And, if people don't go to save the Queen soon, this Cyberman might kill off the Queen, ending Marl's bloodline and making her cease to exist.
I feel like that was an appropriate reaction for Chrono there.
Yeah, whoa!
Oh shit!
Alright, so now we gotta go find the Queen before shit gets really bad. Before we fuck up the time stream.
Hey, this is all her fault for fucking around with teleporting, alright?
That's true.
That's why we named her Butts. That is my justification. Just imagine that after getting a locker slammed in her face, she rips open a portal in time and flings the bully far into the future where her evil is law. By the way, she disappeared in the place where we're going to go. Remember? We alluded to that earlier.
Right. Yeah. If you don't know like what to do, you know, or where to go, you can like head to these residences, check out the inn, and eventually some people start saying something about the cathedral. Like there's 2 or 3 people who are like, hey, you know, the cathedral's weird.
I will be honest, 8-year-old me took a little while.
Yeah.
Where do I go? What do I do?
We want nothing but world peace. Or a piece of the world. You might want to stick around for the organ recital. It's a real killer. People who know what to do with themselves in a peaceful world. What delicious, I mean delightful humans.
This is...
Here's some food and a place to rest.
Your enthusiasm is troubling.
So I guess these nuns like puns.